We're going to do Jaimini Raja Yogas today. So Jaimini actually, obviously we've talked about all the Karakas, and the combination of certain Karakas together create different types of Raja Yogas. And they kind of, I give you the first few are going to be like the most amazing ones. And then as we go down, they still give Raja Yoga, but they're not going to be quite as great. So, but one of the, apart from Karakas as well, there is a mention about the fifth lord as well. Fifth lord, obviously anything to do with fourth house is about knowledge and intelligence and using those to actually get through your life and daily trials, intelligently, if you like. And it's funny how we've also talked about the fifth house being so important in the D9 when you have a relationship, how you actually intelligently navigate through that relationship, which is not necessarily just a relationship with your loved one, but with the bigger world as well. So it's very telling, isn't it? This using your fifth house and your intelligence. Not to necessarily always be right, but to actually to be happy. These obviously the houses that these Raja Yogas occur in as well, they're very important too. So we're going to start with saying, I'm just going to say that if these these Raja Yogas happen in good houses, or 9th, 10th, 11th, ascendant, or the 5th house, they are just amazing. Really, really good. The very first one would be if your Atmakarka and Amatya Karka, they are conjunct or aspecting. I've already done the aspects, so you can actually see how they Rashi aspect each other or they're sitting together. That will be really amazing. And then we have Atmakarka and AK and PK together. So this will be like almost like 1st and 5th house, because Atmakarka is yourself, and obviously PK will be like your 5th house, has that flavour. And Atmakarka and Amatya Karka, the very first one I talked about, it's got really like almost like a Maharaja yoga, Maharaja yoga feel, because it's just like really a great one. It's like a 9th lord in the 10th house, or 10th lord in the 9th house, or 1st lord in the 10th house, that kind of feel to it. And AK and DK will be like almost like 1st and 7th lord together, so that's a really good Raja Yoga as well. Atmakarka with the 5th lord, that is a really good one. And then it goes down, so Amatya Karka with your PK, so it'd be almost like a 2nd, 10th, 11th and 5th house feel, so it's more like a Dana Yoga kind of thing. Then you got AMK and 5th lord, PK and DK, and then you have PK and 5th lord, and DK and 5th lord. So these will be like your Raja Yogas in your Jaimini Astrology. I'm just going to run through them again. So it's a connection of AK, AMK, AK and PK, AK and DK, AK and 5th lord, AMK and PK, AMK and 5th lord, PK and DK, PK and 5th lord, DK and 5th lord. So any combination of these will actually give you a Raja Yoga, and you can check these in all of your Vargas, and like if it happens to be like your education one, that's the one you're going to excel in, with children, D7, with D3 with your siblings and courage, or D4, which will be your assets, D9 will be like your marriage and your spiritual path, D10 your career, and obviously D1, which is your natal chart anyway. So these are the Raja Yogas. Now we also in the Karakas we talked about GK being the Karaka that is very similar to having 6th, 8th and 12th house feel about it, or the lords of those. So this could create losses and kind of like debts and things like that as well. So if you ever have a connection between any of the Raja Yogas and this, they are probably not as good as expected, if you like. So because it can create some form of loss, but you still will get something, and that's for sure. And obviously, if you have your BK, the third highest degree planet involved in them, it's got like a third house thing. So it just means that once you put the effort into it, then you get the fruits of that Raja Yoga, if you like. So these are the Jaimini Raja Yogas now. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to share with you the chart for Bill Gates. Honestly, I don't want to have any opinions on anybody, but it's just purely because he has a really good combination that's really easy to see as well. So I'm going to share with you his D1, and in the middle I've put down all the Karakas as well. So as you can see, so he's got his Atmakarka is Saturn, his Amatya Karka is Venus. So AK, AMK for him, Saturn, Venus, in any combination together or aspecting each other, Rashi aspecting, they will also create this Jaimini Raja Yoga for him. So this is a very good combination for him. Right, so we're sharing now the D1. So you can see that he's a Gemini ascendant, and he has his AK, Saturn, and MAK, Venus together in his 5th house. Wow, that is incredible. Fantastic. And so you can see that and they're sitting in Libra for him. So it's also, this is the house of commerce as well, and working with other people as well. So you can see also that he's got sun sitting there as well. So although it's a really good Raja Yoga for him, it's a really good, and because obviously his Saturn is also his 9th lord, sitting in the 5th house, sitting with 5th lord and 12th lord Venus there. So it's really strong. They work really well together. Both of them are really, really strong. Saturn is also his 3rd lord in his naturally, not just talking about Parashara, his 3rd lord, and is debilitated in his 5th house. But what you can also, there's another connotation there as well, that's actually his 5th house is 3rd from 3rd. So it's actually, I mean, Sun is weak in his chart, and actually in Shadbala is quite weak as well. But it's still kind of like it's like house of intelligence as well. However, what you can see in that is that that Sun is also hurting his the fruits of his Atmakarka and Amatya Karka, although it can be said that actually it hasn't hurt it at all because he has made not millions but billions. But we're just going to go very, very quickly and have a look that you can also see that both of these planets are also from Leo being aspected by his Jupiter. So Jupiter in Leo, Jupiter is his DK. So that is also creating another Raja Yoga as well. And also in his D1, he has got Moon and Mars aspecting each other from Virgo and Pisces. And that is a MK and PK together as well. That is quite a good property kind of thing as well. So, okay, so you can see multiple things going on in his D1 chart. But I think the most amazing thing about his chart is when we look at his D9. Because in his D9, if you can see, he then becomes a Taurus Lagna or ascendant. And then in his 2nd house in Gemini, Gemini being house of technology, but it's his 2nd house of making money. So you can see that the moment he gets married, his 2nd house in his D9, his Gemini gets activated by the marriage. And what happens then is he has in there his Atmakarka and Madhyakarka in his second house of his D9. So he activates, so literally you can see that although he was doing really well prior to getting married, but getting married actually then started his wealth in a big way. And in there also there is Mars, and Mars rules property for him. It's the equivalent to his fourth house, if you like, feel. So it's Matrikarka, and that obviously provided him with lots of land and property as well. So that is his second house in there. So in a sense, actually getting married kind of protected him from that sun in his D1 chart. Now we're going to go into have a look at his D10. His the Shamsha, which is all about the career. And in there you can see that he is actually, he has got Jupiter in Virgo aspecting the moon in Pisces in this one. So DK and PK are aspecting each other. So that's a really good Raja Yoga. And then you can also see that Venus and Moon, his Amatyakarka and PK from Gemini and Pisces, they're aspecting each other. And Jupiter, which is his DK sitting in Virgo, is also aspecting Venus, which is his Amatyakarka. So there's multiple things going on in his chart. His dual signs are very, very active in his, so they're all kind of working together and creating lots of different yogas going on in his chart. So that's it folks, just a very quick look at the Jaimini Raja Yogas. And the other things that I need to sort of like just mention as well, there is something called Padas and Arudha Lagna as well, which we will look at. And there's also something else called Argala as well. And that kind of shows that if something is going to be concrete and happen for you, or is it going to be some obstacles there? And that will kind of, after that, you can start using Chara, well, basically all kinds of dasas with this and just see what gets activated. Jaimini is quite a simple way of doing astrology. It's a really good part of Vedic astrology. It just kind of makes it much easier for you to see, is this going to happen or is it not going to happen? So that's it, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much for supporting me.